Hi, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Everything Horror Podcast. I am your host, Paul Dosky, with the lovely fiance,
Tessa Baker.
And we are here for the final day of the Women in Horror. And this is a pretty nice interview with an independent filmmaker. She's come on to tell us, hopefully, some more awesome details of the upcoming film that she's going to be releasing, hopefully maybe this year or next year, called Wendigo. And this is Nicole Sell. Hello, Nicole.
Hello. Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Now, Nicole, for people like me and Tessa here, and for those that are listening, would you mind giving us a little background of who you are and how you got into horror?
Yeah, of course. I'm from a small town in Wisconsin, and it's called Two Rivers. It's right on Lake Michigan, and I work as a hospital worker when I'm not trying to make films. I have my one dog, and I got into horror films actually when I was in middle school, when my teacher ironically, it was for our mystery part of the lesson. She turned on The Watcher in the Woods, starring Bette Davis, and and ever since when I started watching that, I was so interested in the whole horror aspect. I got so into it, and then I just got completely into the horror section. I haven't looked back since.
Nice. That sounds like an awesome little thing.
Yeah, it's a good movie. I mean, Bette Davis, and it was the first Bette Davis movie I had ever seen. And ironically, it was a Disney film, so that was actually kind of funny in itself.
Well, Disney did just take over 20th Century Fox, so that means like franchises like Aliens and stuff like that is now like a Disney princess now? So the alien queen of Disney princess now? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's going on here.
They're taking over everything.
Yeah, they are. They're gonna be the new Monopoly, which is not good.
No, they're just good. Yeah, I'm still reeling over to them taking over Lucasfilms. So
exactly. And just for people that may have heard that little sound of like somebody just came in, that is our other co-assistant host right now, Tristan Knott.
How's it going, guys?
Yeah. So Tristan is here to also help with questions just in case I feel like stuck or something. And plus, you guys may have remembered the monster episode that we did where we brought up the topic of the Wendigo. So I figured perfect topic and interview to have Tristan jump on board because of the fact we're going to be talking about Wendigo. But yes. But before the Wendigo, Nicole, you were actually trying to write something else, and it was like a folklore legend based around your hometown.
Yeah, actually, it was the assignment. I was in film school at the time, and the assignment was to write a script about a lore in your home state. And in Elkhorn, Wisconsin, they have the Beast of Bray Road. And so the script started off as a werewolf script, but I just could not get the main character and the monster to connect to it would sound convincing enough. And I just couldn't get to be a unique werewolf story. So then I started researching more different kind of monsters online, and then I stumbled onto the legend of the Wendigo, and I thought it was like the most fantastic monster I have ever heard. With the fact that it can mimic human voices, it's so fast. Some say that it can't be killed with a knife or a gun. It's got to basically be burned. I just thought that was like the coolest, most underrated creature that nobody's really ever talked about in the story world.
What I liked about the Wendigo was there was like multiple folklores, like he was a spirit and a creature.
Yes.
Yes. And
yeah, I like the different aspects of how people see this. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, the Wendigo can be seen as so many different ways. So a Wendigo can be like,
be portrayed by anything like a creature or a human being turned into some kind of creature. Something that looks like a cross mix between like an upright walking, like, I don't know, scraggly wolf demon or something like that.
Yeah.
I've seen.
Yeah, it can be seen so many different ways. I mean, I think the last time we really seen a good game that had anything to do with a Wendigo was Until Dawn.
Yeah.
And we kind of saw how they came back in the game because the sisters had to survive in that weird way. And yeah, that brought the Wendigos back. I don't want to say too much because I don't know how many people actually have played Until Dawn yet. But yeah, I mean, let's just say that was a nice Wendigo game.
Yeah, and it's worth checking out.
And it's definitely worth checking out.
I agree with that. I didn't play it myself, but I know somebody who did play it. It was quite a fantastic game. It is quite a fantastic game.
Yes. All right. So yeah, it's interesting that you couldn't really get a werewolf, but then again, like you were saying, like, you know, a Wendigo is the type of creature that we don't really hear much of often. So it's nice to bring monsters out from the dark into the light, per se, that we haven't really necessarily seen before, or if we have, not as much. Like werewolves, you know, we're kind of used to seeing werewolves all the time.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It's a nice little change up.
Yeah. There's so many different werewolf movies, and I couldn't get it to, like I said, the original script, I just could not get it to work where it's like, what makes this different than every other werewolf film that's out there?
Right. We already got some pretty well-known names, like an American Werewolf in London, The Howling. We got, like, you know, Blood and Chocolate, and the list goes on. Underworld. I mean, I know that's more vampire werewolf, but still, though.
You mentioned The Howling, right?
I just said that, yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. And, the list can just go on and on and on with werewolves. But Wendigo, I can't really think of any movies with Wendigo, really, to be honest. So, I mean, what about you, Nicole? Have you heard of any films that have Wendigos in it?
I heard of, I didn't hear about one until I was, looking to get my crew together for this project, where somebody's like, you do know there was one back in 2008, and I was just like, no. I was like, I didn't know how to answer that question. I was just like, no, but even if there was, the story is probably anything like that one, because I've never even heard of it.
Yeah. I mean, you just even saying that 2008, that makes me want to go now to IMDb and take a look to find out what this one is so I can somehow look it up.
I think 2008. I know it's like the early 2000s, and I was just like, yeah, never heard of this one.
I'll have to keep an eye out for sure.
And I was just, 2001. I apologize. Then yeah, that was like it was not 2008. It was 2001.
So
I've
yeah,
never even heard of it.
pretty much 18 years ago almost.
Yeah, just about. It's like, is it? I mean, I'm like, I couldn't help. I was like, I didn't even know that they tried to do Wendigo films in this point.
Right, exactly. I mean, I mean, I'm right there with you. I didn't even know there was a Wendigo film myself. So, whoopsie.
It's But then again, because I don't know if it was just trying to intimidate me that there was already a Wendigo movie, but then I was just like, well, first of all, I really doubt the storylines are even the same, and second of all, there is really no 100% original idea in the film industry these days.
The first time I ever heard of the Wendigo was the Hulk animated series. I was like a kid watching that, and I just saw the Wendigo. I was like, oh, I never knew that was actually a thing.
I think the first time I ever heard, even before I started doing my research, I briefly remember the Wendigo from an episode of Supernatural.
Oh yeah, that's right. Man, that was a while ago too.
That was like first season Supernatural.
Yeah, exactly, a while ago.
A very long while ago. It's been a few years. And I completely forgot about that episode until I started researching.
Yeah, I forget what season they're even on right now, but I know they just got renewed again for the new seasons, or if not new ones.
I think I want to say, I don't even want to guess. It's just so many seasons. I know I have a friend who is the executive producer of that show, so.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I know she's super excited that they have another season. So it's like go you got it.
Knock 'em dead.
You got this. I mean, it's still got an awesome. I mean, the show still has an awesome fan base and everything like that. So it's like go you. I mean, this is becoming like one of the It's been named like one of the longest running science fiction shows. It's like getting up there towards Star Trek a little bit.
Oh God, that show.
But I remember when I was researching Wendigo, the episode of Supernatural popped up. I was like, oh, hey, I remember that when I was watching it.
What inspired you to want to create your own films?
I'm sorry, what was that? I missed the last part of that question. What was that?
I said, what inspired you to want to create your own films?
Oh, man, I've been trying to create films since I was a kid. When my sister hated playing with me because I would try and direct her and tell her to say lines when we would play. And as I got older, it went from just playing games to I really got into wanting to make films when Lord of the Rings was the big thing. And my mom bought me the entire like extended edition specialist sets. And I literally sat there and watched all the behind the scenes footage. And I was just like, yeah, this is what I want to do. And
that's amazing.
Just literally just sat there and I was just like so in awe of how they created this world and how it all came to be. I was like, yeah, this is what I wanted. And at first I thought it was acting that I wanted to do. But then I didn't really care for the acting part. So I found I really enjoyed the behind the scenes. And it slowly started creeping back that I really enjoyed the directing. I got the directing bug, and I really got hit with the directing bug when I was in film school because I was filming my first project on the back of the Universal Studios lot in film school. and I had to film a short scene on the back of on that lot, and just directing these actors saying the script that I wrote. It was like the most natural thing to me was to direct these people to how I wanted them to move and how I wanted them to say the lines and everything like that. So it's kind of like a domino effect of how wanting to make my own films came to be.
Now, out of all the genres in film history, why horror?
I think I love horror just because there's always that underlining theme that, besides just like one of my favorite comparisons is like even in Jaws, yeah, you have the shark that's killing people, but if you really think about it, it was about Brody overcoming his fear of water. If you really think about it, like I always love that horror. Yeah, it has that scary aspect, but there's really that underlining like real personal story of the main character. And I've always found that part always so fascinating. It's like two stories mixed in one, and that's just so fascinating to me.
That's really nice. And just for an idea of your upcoming film for Wendigo, what is a short plot line that we can kind of get to so that we understand the focus of the idea?
Yeah, of course. The Wendigo is about a single mom. She leaves her busy life in New York and she moves back to her small town to start over with her children after she had a bitter divorce. As she's trying to get her life back together, this creature that ruined her life when she was a child comes back to finish what it had started. So that's the basic synopsis for it.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah.
And that's where we say to be continued. And yeah. But yeah, no. I also was looking at some other information about you too. That you mentioned you also worked on a few other projects when you were in the University of, what was it, New York, I think it was, and you were working on two projects known as The Curse and The Wife. And so, what kind of experience did you have, and what did you learn making these projects?
Well, with The Wife, that was my very first project, and that was that project. What I learned about that was really what it helped me with. I'm trying to think of how to describe this. When filming The Wife, it was really working with the shadows that I learned, and I learned a lot about. It was, like I said, it was very first project, so I learned so much with how the blocking works and the shit and the making shadows work. Like even like the actual wife, having her stand inside and she's just staring out the window and she's got like the dark shadows over her face. I worked a lot with shadows on that first one, and just getting the full experience of being a director for the first time. And The Curse, that one was an interesting experience because that one had zero dialogue in it, and just working with all of the natural, like having the actors work more with the facial expressions and the body language and everything like that. That was a completely different experience with no dialogue.
Yeah, those are always a tricky one, but if you can get the I don't even know the word for this, but I'll just say pattern with the no dialogue thing, and you somehow make the film itself tell the story, like you're saying with the facial expressions and stuff like that. Then you don't. Then yeah, I mean, then no dialogue really is needed as long as you got the cinematography on top of each shot to at least tell the story in the way of if you were going to have that dialogue, but without the dialogue.
Yeah. And that was I feel like that was like the hardest part was just not having any sort of not having any dialogue, and really working with the lighting, because it was being shot during the daytime, but it was supposed to get the nighttime feel. So trying to keep all shades closed and everything like that. It was so different. But it was a lot of fun. Both projects were a lot of fun.
What does Women in Horror Month mean to you?
Women of Horror Month means to me, I feel like it's like a step to how everything is going in the film industry. It's very female empowerment of some shape or form, whether it's the director really working with the storyline, or even the main character of that story really just showing that. To me, it's like really going away from that stereotypical of a girl is running through the trees and she falls and she screams and then she's dead. Like, women are really taking a step up, like Jamie Lee Curtis in the Halloween films and everything like that.
Instead of being like a damsel in distress, pretty much stepping up to the plate and taking on whatever comes at you. Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, and funny enough, I didn't know that this month was Women of Horror Month until recently. I was like, oh, that's the irony is strong with that one. Especially with the story I'm trying to tell.
Exactly.
So, who's your favorite, like, woman in horror actor?
Oh, man. There's a few. Like, most recent, I like Vera Farmiga in the Conjuring series. I love...
That's Paul's favorite series right there, Paul.
Which one?
Conjuring?
Ah.
Oh boy, struck a nerve.
Oh boy. For Jamie Lee Curtis in the Halloween films, and there's just I do have to also say the one that really sticks out in my mind very much so is actually Bette Davis in her in The Watcher in the Woods, because that was the first horror movie I watched, and her role just really sticks out in your mind in that film. And when I think horror films, I do think of Bette Davis a lot, just because that movie was scary, especially when with her character and those eyes of hers. It was just so intriguing and terrifying at the same time. So when I think of that, I do think of Bette Davis a lot. She's one of the first people that come in my mind.
Now, besides like Watchers in the Woods, is there any other horror films that are classified as some of your favorites?
The original Amityville Horror, Jaws, the original Poltergeist. I love all the original scary films.
Yeah, I mean, nothing can really beat the original Exorcist and stuff like that. So, I mean...
No, definitely not. I know they try.
Yeah, they tried, but they failed.
Failed miserable.
They tried their best.
When will Hollywood learn to keep their dirty claws away from the original classics? I don't know.
Well, I know one that has me really disappointed is they want to redo The Creature from the Black Lagoon, and that was my first monster film that I watched when I was a kid.
They actually want to redo all the Universal monsters, to be honest.
They need to stay away from them.
The next one that they want to do is the continuation of The Invisible Man, from what I understand.
Yeah, and I heard Johnny Depp is supposed to play that role.
I heard that.
I heard that too, yeah. I don't know how I feel about it, even though I like Johnny Depp.
Yeah, I like Johnny Depp myself, but I don't know how I feel about the Universal monster films being remade.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, I'm surprised I was surprised to hear they were gonna keep trying after that. After they tried to redo The Mummy with Tom Cruise. Never saw that one myself.
Yeah, I don't think neither of us have. Well, maybe Tristan has. I think I heard Tristan is nominated it as like his favorite movie, right, Tristan?
Yeah, I actually really like the Tom Cruise one. And it's kind of like it's not like remaking like the ones with Brendan Fraser, but it's kind of like its own little thing. Like it kind of reminds me of like the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. That's kind of like the twist that they want to do with this.
Wow.
Okay.
Because they did bring in the movie Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which Russell Crowe played him.
I remember I worked on the survey cards for the early screenings of that movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And
But real quick, but it is funny that you mentioned both Jaws and The Watcher in the Woods, because you did happen to mention that Wendigo is a film that is like a cross between Jaws and The Watcher in the Woods, because Wendigo is the perfect hunter of as a monster. So how did you even get those two together?
well, mostly with what I loved about both of them, even though with Jaws it's because they worked it this way because the shark never worked. Was you see the point of view of the shark at some points in the film, and I love seeing the point of view of the shark. And in The Watcher of the Woods, whenever anybody entered the woods, they had it so the camera was following that person. And I just love the aspect of like we have to create taking both and just having the point of view of the monster as well as showing the monster following them, but you never see the monster. You know it's there, but it's there, but you can't see it.
Ah, so like you're saying, the monster, the mysterious one, where it makes you use your imagination.
Yes. It's like when it kind of reminds me of like when I was a kid. I spent so much time up in the cabins in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and the scariest time that I remember for me is the woods at night. Daytime, no problem. Nighttime was terrifying. And so I'm kind of playing off like my own like childhood experiences of the woods at night. And I was just like, that would just, because a lot of people don't like the woods at night because you don't know what's out there. So really playing off that part too.
That really brings up like the sea too. Like we've talked about that in one of our episodes was the sea has never been discovered what's in that, and
Yeah, no, we haven't even scratched the surface of the sea.
Yeah, we don't even know what is actually down in the deep below. So yeah.
My question is, do we really want to know what's the further? I know they keep discovering more species of fish and everything the further they go. I'm like, do we really want to keep going? Because I don't know if I want to know if there's like something really big down there that we don't want to know is down there.
Now, real quick too, to go back to the Wendigo for a minute. It looks like you have some very interesting people on board as well. Like we see that you have Melissa K. Webb known for Sharknado 4. You got Heather Benson from The Walking Dead. And those are people that help with the makeup work. And you also have, I'm not sure if I'm going to pronounce this name right, but like Kevynn Brewer?
Yep.
Okay. And they're known for Killer Kate, which I have not actually heard of. And I did look it up, and it sounds really interesting. And Kevynn Brewer is known for the head of the wardrobe department. There we go. So how did you end up getting these type of people to come on board for your Wendigo project?
They were, ironically, they were all introduced to me through friends of mine from film school. Heather was. I posted an ad on one of those Facebook groups looking for. I was like, I'm looking for a makeup person. I'm looking for a wardrobe person. And one of my friends from film school, he actually sent me the link to Heather's Facebook page, and then she and I've been talking back and forth. She's really excited to be part of the project. And Melissa, she wasn't introduced to me, but she saw the ad and she messaged me on Facebook wanting to know more. And then Kevynn was the same way. She got a hold of me through Facebook, and just been with all four of us have been like talking and keeping in touch while we're trying to get everything together. So yeah, they asked for more of the project, and then they love the project. And it's really how it's been going. Is we're just talking back and forth on the whole what they need and what I need, and it's been a really good working relationship for the last couple of months.
It's always good to have that type of connection too.
Oh yeah, I was surprised when I got to know Heather more when I looked at our IMDb and I saw The Walking Dead. I was like, oh man, Walking Dead.
Right? Yeah, that kind of threw me for a loop too when I saw that. I was like, whoa, like wow.
And yeah, she's been very forward with in a good way, I should say, of the budget and everything she needs. So my producer and I are working to get that budget so we can fit her budget in there, because I would love her to be. I really want her to be part of this to work on the actual creature.
Ooh. Yeah, she does have some very nice work.
Impressive.
Yeah, very impressive. Your project seems to like be, I don't know. It's real. Like, it's kind of sad that like you have a Kickstarter. You had a Kickstarter, because I forget if it ended yet or not. But
Not quite.
yeah, okay. Well, it is quite sad though that you had a Kickstarter. You have a Kickstarter that is ending anytime after probably this comes out. At this episode anyway. But it seems like you're not gonna be hitting the goal that you were aiming for. So, what is like Plan B for funding Wendigo?
Plan B is a lot of networking, meeting a lot of people. Thankfully, my producer has been very gracious to pointing me in that right direction. So I've been looking at other options. IMDb Pro is a very big help of learning how to find and talk to people that way. And I'm a very optimistic person and very passionate, especially very passionate about this project. I've been working on it for about 5 years now.
Wow.
And just because I'm in the total belief that just because one option didn't work, it doesn't mean that's the only option I have. So I'm in the belief that it will happen, and I will just continue looking for the options and learning from my producer of what she suggests of what we should do. And we're just gonna keep climbing from there. And yeah, I'm totally not put off just because the Kickstarter page didn't work out. So, I mean, disappointed, yes, but I mean, like I said, it's not. I'm just gonna continue meeting and talking with people and pitching it to potential investors and executive producers. Just gonna keep shopping it around.
And that's all that matters. Is just keep networking and just finding the right people.
Exactly. Just because I know too many. Sadly, I know too many people who feel just because one ends, they think, oh, that's it. It's like, no, that's not it.
Right? Yeah, no, you want to just keep going. You want to keep moving that train.
Have you decided the locations you want to shoot your upcoming film?
We are looking to film in Michigan. Actually, we are, as long as everything goes perfectly, as soon as my producer gives me the final budget, it will be definitely in conversation. I have family who owns 38 acres of forest land, and they want us to film the forest scenes on their land, which I already sent a bunch of videos and pictures to my producer. And right now, because it's winter, everything looks bare and everything like that, not as scary. But we're really looking to film it in Michigan because of all the forests and everything that's that's over there.
And
That sounds like that could play out really well on your behalf.
yes.
Oh, yeah. But as soon as I told my producer, I was like, "Oh yeah, I know somebody who owns 38 acres of woodsy land." She immediately texted me back saying, "You mean we have a potential of filming somewhere free?" I was like, "Yeah, they're actually not practically. My family is begging us to use their land to film the scenes because there is actually one thing that I can say." Is there is a specific building, it's supposed to be a stone shack that shows up in the script consistently. And that was the one thing that my producer and I were like, how are we going to make this work? Because I really don't want to mess up somebody's stone cabin.
Right.
But they have an abandoned stone building on their land that's filled with graffiti and everything. And I was just like, that would be so perfect.
Boom.
They're just like, can you use that? It was like, yeah, we could definitely use that.
Why not? It's abandoned.
They're like, if you have to get, well, my grandmother who actually owns the land, she made me laugh. She goes, if you have to destroy it, you can destroy it. It's an eyesore anyways. It's like, okay.
It's an eyesore anyway. Amazing.
It was just like, I don't like it over there. It's just taking up space. Okay.
Wow.
I don't think you actually want to blow anything up on your land, but thanks for the permission.
Oh boy. That's gonna be a fun day when you gotta blow it up. I mean,
because she was just so funny. She was like, if you have to destroy it, knock it down, whatever you need to do, you can do. It's like, well, okay. That'll be a discussion for when we're closer to that.
So we're gonna ask you one more time. Are you sure it's okay to destroy this? Yep.
Okay. Because once it's gone,
You don't get it. Are you sure? Like, are you sure? Like, this thing is gonna be bye-bye.
What was that explosion? Oh, just go back to bed. It's okay.
It's okay, kids. It's just fine. It's just Nick in the backyard working.
Working on what?
Whatever you do, don't even go into the forest.
Well, it used to be a campground, which makes it even creepier because some of the stuff is still there.
Oh man, that could be shot for the film too.
Like there's like an abandoned gazebo over there, and I took the 4-wheeler out and it just totally completely explored that land, and I was just like, this could work so well in so many different ways. It's just, especially when spring comes around and everything starts blooming back up. I was just like, that's gonna be terrifying.
Right? That'll be nothing but like gorgeous trees that overlook everything, that make you feel like it's more spooky because of the fact that it's just nothing but tree.
Yeah, I just love that. Like I said, I just play so much off my memories where my grandfather used to take his grandkids 4-wheeling in the woods all the time up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and talk about deep, endless amount of woods. It's woods as far as the eye can see.
Wow.
And it's just, and like I said, really cool in the daytime, but at night it was scary. And what was scary to me was it's not when you would hear the crickets and everything like that. You wanted to hear the crickets. What scared me more is when you didn't hear anything.
And I go back to the whole, what was that? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Yes, don't worry about it. It's nothing. It's absolutely nothing.
It was just a bear.
A bear makes that noise? Yes.
Why not? Maybe it was a fox, because we don't even know what a fox says. I mean,
Oh god.
Oh man, that song.
Yes, that song. Oh my god.
I have
What's that? What's that like howling noise? Oh, it's just the coyotes.
it's that werewolf that we forgot about.
well, ironically, the things that's not as that's scary on that part of Michigan isn't the coyotes. There is no really a lot of coyotes up there. It's the wolves that are up there. There are packs of wolves that live up in the Upper Peninsula, and they're slowly trickling their way down to Wisconsin. Because I know we used to have a pack of coyotes here in my hometown, but according to my brother-in-law, the wolves kicked them out recently.
Wow. Well,
Here we go.
exactly. Like, well, this is mine now. Go.
Well, apparently the wolves won because I haven't heard a coyote in a long time. Gotta be in my hometown. Like I said, it's on Lake Michigan, and it's all farmland behind all around us.
Oh wow, yeah, that's pretty big then for farmland.
Yeah, it's far. My hometown is 1,300 people.
I forgot what my town is. Probably less than that. I don't even remember.
So it's almost like just as perfect to film a horror film in, but thing is this town is so conservative. Like I've tried to talk to a couple of locations of possibly filming here, and they're like, yeah, no, we're not interested. It's like, okay.
That sounds like my state.
What was that?
It sounds like my state.
We just
Are you making a gross film? No interested.
we don't ever. Well, understandably, a lot of people in this town are a little more cautious since that Making of a Murderer documentary came out.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Are we going to acknowledge that Paul just sounded like Minnie Mouse?
Actually, yeah.
I
A little bit.
Just a little bit.
You listen here, Tristan. I'll see you at work tomorrow.
Oh, that's funny.
can see it now. I'll be working on the floor tomorrow, and Paul will be walking up to me and be like, "Hi, how are you?"
Oh, wait a minute. It was last night. Remember, you hated when I sounded like this. Go hear it.
Oh boy.
Oh, good.
I haven't even had my coffee yet.
Tristan, I'm going to pity you tomorrow. You're going to have to message me and be like, so this happened.
I'll videotape the whole thing.
You better send it to me.
I'll post it on YouTube.
Oh,
Post it on YouTube.
Viral.
yeah, it did.
It's a wonderful thing.
Wait, I don't want to be famous.
YouTube is a wonderful thing. But actually is what I used a lot of YouTube to do a lot of my Wendigo research.
That's amazing.
Because what amazed me is I'm all for I'm a very open-minded person. I just find it so fascinating that I found so many stories of people who have said they've seen one.
So, what is your favorite story about the Wendigo?
Of like what I found on YouTube, or what I know in general of the.
What you know in general?
I think the most fascinating story, it kind of ties with also the Native American lore, is, well, I find it fascinating that the Native Americans believe it to be an evil spirit, where if you say it, it like draws it in to you. I always found that fascinating because in my research, I found that so many people have asked Native Americans about it, and they're literally like, "Oh yeah, no, we acknowledge that it exists, but no, we won't talk about it. Just because if you say the name, it will come and find you, and we don't want that." And
That is actually one of my favorite stories about it.
yeah, it's when you say the name, it comes to find you. It's like that's scary. I also like the idea because of how many stories about cannibalism and everything like that is somebody who's been trapped for so long in such harsh conditions that they're so desperate that they end up eating human flesh just to survive. But then it comes like the double-edged sword: you survive, but you turn into this monster. So it's that person is just stuck in between a rock and a hard place. Do they freeze and starve to death, or do they eat and survive? And risk of turning into this monster, because eating human flesh is so taboo in so many cultures. So I find
this is more of an opinion question. What do you think, or why do you think there's so many stories about the Wendigo?
I think there's so many stories about the Wendigo because, well, let me ask this: are you, like, of all the different like lore stories, or like I mentioned, of people who saying they see one?
A little bit of both.
I think it's more the stories are so fascinating because it really connects to the unknown. Like like I said, I'm an open-minded person, and because the forest is so deep and so vast and so unexplored, anything can live there, really. And I really see the Wendigo as a creature that's like your worst nightmare. And I feel like people's stories, like, it's like they're like, it literally is your worst nightmare. You're trapped somewhere, and you think you hear somebody calling for help, and you go there and there's nothing there, so your mind starts to think, "Oh my gosh, there is something horrible out here." But then your mind just really goes into that terrified mode, and I really think it just really plays on that kind of fear, if that makes sense. And especially when it comes to, I mean, like I said, I'm open-minded. I totally believe the people who have said they've seen one have seen. Maybe they have seen one. I wasn't there. I can't deny that you didn't see one.
Well, that's like the people that say, "I've seen a Bigfoot," and it's just like, I can't deny it.
Exactly. It's like, I can't deny that you saw I can't deny you saw Bigfoot. I can't deny that you saw a dog man. I can't. I wasn't there. I didn't see what you see.
So,
I believe you've seen something because you are obviously. I've heard so many people's accounts and read so many stories where these people are traumatized by whatever they saw.
yep.
And I'm just like, you saw something. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to say you didn't, and I'm not going to say you did.
It can go a little both ways.
Either way, I feel bad for that person who has claimed they've seen one, because I'm like, that is probably the most terrifying thing you could ever see in your life, is this monster. Then, especially if you've never even heard of a Wendigo, and you just see, and everybody's descriptions of it are like identical. And because they're like, I don't know what this is. It was tall. It looked grayish, pure white, had no eyes. Some say it did have eyes. It's just like, I'm just like, whatever. I was like, that is like the scariest thing you could ever imagine seeing in your life, and I don't want to see that in person.
Well, that's like the question. So, what would you do if you saw a Wendigo? What would anybody not do? I mean, what do? Do you take out your phone and try to take a picture of it so you can have proof, or do you just run away?
See, if I was walking in a forest with a friend of mine and I saw the Wendigo and they were like, "What is that?" I'll be like, "Nothing. Let's just turn around and go in the opposite direction. Thank you very much."
I agree with that one. Yeah, that is so nothing. Let's go. You know what? That way looks like a good idea. Let's go that way.
Let's completely avoid this part of the woods coming up, like right here.
Well, the worst part is like you're walking through the forest and you see this creature and all of a sudden you're like, "Wait, that looks like my cousin It."
Oh,
I didn't know this was a family reunion.
Family reunion. I do have to laugh though, because of the fact that it's so many people who tell their story and say, I did see this thing, and everybody's like, well, why didn't you take a picture? I'm like, well, would you? Because that is the first thing on my mind. I see this scary monster that I know eats human flesh, and the first thing is, let me take a selfie.
Oh, geez,
Duck faced.
I just the last thing you're going to think about is, I need my cell phone. I need to take video of this creature standing right in front of me. No, you're going to go.
I'm sorry, Tristan, but the duck face is totally not attractive.
How do you think I got my last girlfriend?
Oh,
You attracted her with the duck face? Oh, God.
man, I really hope,
Face.
man, Tristan, at that rate, I really hope nobody takes you into the woods and use you as like a bait to trip you, just to have you as bait.
Be like, see you. It's nice knowing you, man.
Every man for himself.
I could see it now. I'd be walking in the forest with a buddy of mine, and all of a sudden I'll see this thing. I'll be the first one gone. He'll be looking for me like, "Where'd you go? Why are you up in the oak tree? It's the only safe place."
Yeah, baby. Let me open up that picnic basket. No.
What was that thing? Well, that wasn't the big bad wolf, if that's what you're asking.
That is one thing that's always that's because anybody who's outside the box thinks, oh, I'll take a picture if I see this thing. I'm like, no, you're such a liar.
It would be a blurry picture. Get it right.
It would be the blurriest picture you ever took, because as you're taking it, you're running away.
But I will have to say though about these like taking video and stuff, like stories that we're saying. I have to actually ask though. There is that interesting Wendigo trailer that you have where it's actually somebody like almost as if you're seeing it in first person and you're running in the woods. So are we going to see something similar to that? Because it made me ask the question, like, so is this like a found footage or just like a traditional shot film, or found footage with some traditional shot?
It's going to be, I made that trailer as the victim's point of view, just like to kind of give that creepy vibe, but it's going to be more told in the like the original storytelling way. It's not going to be a lot of found footage kind of look. I mean, there might be a little bit just because of certain things that happen, but really it's going to be really told in like the regular story kind of way. Fun fact on that trailer, the fall at the end was real.
Oh, jeez.
I filmed all of those scenes on my cell phone.
Man, then you had quite the fall then at that last part.
I was run there. There's a part on that trail that I was running on where it was just pure ice, and I didn't know. And I hit it, and you can, and then actually in the actual clip, you actually see me like do a total like spin as I'm just saying words as I'm falling, and then I'm laying on the ground, but my first thought was aim the camera at the sky.
Wow.
This would be perfect. As I'm laughing. Dog's thinking it's playtime, and just as I hit stop, he jumps on top of me.
Yay, mommy, let's play, yay!
That was literally, but yeah, no, it's going to be told in the traditional movie sense, really. The trailer, I was really looking to show, like, thought it would really hook people in to show, like, the fear factor of what I'm trying to tell. Like, you know it's there, you can't see it, but it's there. And that trailer is actually edited. Like I said, I filmed the scenes, but the trailer itself was edited by a friend of mine in Iowa. And when she got to that clip of me falling, she goes, "Oh, this is so perfect. I'm so using that."
Well, yeah. But, you think like did the monster get her? What happened?
Yeah. But she's like, "I gotta cut your laughter out." I'm like, "Please do." I'm just laying on the ground laughing. I was like, "This is," because the plan was for me to film like I was gonna pretend to fall.
Oh, but you said you just fell, and it got much more realistic,
more natural.
Yeah,
more natural.
My poor grandmother saw the uncut footage of hearing the not so nice words that came out of my mouth when I hit that patch of ice.
Oh,
sorry, Grandma.
Oops.
Because there's that. The funniest part is as I'm falling, I'm looking around and I'm just like, well, I might as well fall because there's literally nothing for me to catch myself on. No branch, no nothing. It's just air.
I'm free. Free fall. Okay, that's enough.
But yeah, no, it didn't actually hurt because I had so much winter stuff on.
Well, that's good. I wish you were protected.
Yep, I had my big bulky winter jacket on and everything. I was I wanted to put out there. I was completely unharmed. I felt stupid. But it worked for the trailer.
Yes, it did.
And hopefully once we get somewhat of a budget going, the next step is I would like to actually film more actual scenes or a more full-length trailer with the cast. Once all the cast is confirmed. And so that way I can show more of what I'm trying to tell. So I have a good cast coming together. It's just my producer doesn't want to really say yes to anybody until we have the budget. Like, this is our budget.
Right. Yeah, that's completely understandable.
Excuse me. But yeah, I have a great cast coming. I just do have a really wonderful cast coming together. Somebody who is very excited. She does have her own fan base, but hopefully within the next month or so, I can actually say who this person is.
Well, you could hire Paul to be the local schoolgirl with that mini.
Oh, jeez,
Oh, I'm sorry. That was my aunt. I apologize.
I ain't no scared of no monster.
Oh, God.
I'll slap him across the face.
Oh, God. I don't know how I feel about this.
Oh, girl, you don't know anything.
Oh, God. Is there something you want to tell me, babe?
I have balls.
Oh, stop it. Jesus Christ.
Learning some new things today.
I guess so.
First, he can sound like Minnie Mouse, and now we're talking about him being the typical girl that runs into the monster.
Yeah.
Girlfriend.
Oh my god.
That just doesn't fit your style.
No. No. And I'm sober doing this.
Also, another fun fact. I'm sure you've seen I'm sure you have seen the drawing on the Kickstarter page of what this creature looks like.
Yeah.
The creature is actually being designed by my cousin. That's one of his. First concept drawings of it.
Ooh.
And the first time he showed it to me, I was so excited. Then he kept showing my aunt his mother, and she's like, "You really need to stop showing me that."
That's amazing.
She's like, "It looks great, but you really need to stop showing me. That is so terrifying." And one thing I do find interesting is so many different forms I've seen people design the Wendigo to look like.
Hmm.
And especially when I've seen them with the human like face, and I've seen people design it with like a deer skull with antlers, but I always associated that with the Native American skinwalker.
Yeah, I believe that's what the Native Americans actually believe it was, like, even though it is considered a Wendigo, but they did call it like a skinwalker in a way because of the fact that it eats the flesh of the living kind of thing. So I think that's where it kind of gets the idea of the deer and the antler in a weird way. Like, that part always seemed weird, though, about the deer skull and the antlers, but I think that's more creepier that way, too, sometimes, because it's just like,
That's not a deer.
that is not a deer, and what the hell is going on here?
Man, I've seen, like I said, I've heard so many different stories of people who said they've run across skinwalkers and Wendigos. Just so many. I like I said, I feel bad for the people who say they've seen one, because I'm just like, I could imagine that kind of terror.
Man, I would hate to know that terror of trying to see one. Hmm.
Then you have people who try to find one. I'm like, why? Why do you want to try and see it? You don't want to see this.
No.
You think you want to see it, but you really, really don't.
That's the time when they're looking for these things. They're like, "Oh yes, we found it. Wait, this is a horrible idea. Why did we do this in the first place?"
It's literally like one of those scenes out of one of those horror films where you got the kids in the abandoned house. Oh, this is so cool. Why did we do this? Once the monster's out to get you.
Let's go, buddy. Let's go find this thing. Hey, wait, what's that? Oh, this is a horrible idea. Let's get out of here.
This is the worst idea we've had all year.
As an independent filmmaker, where are you planning on releasing Wendigo?
Well, what my producer and I are planning on doing, we want to distribute it. I would like to show it in in horror film festivals. I would like to, if I can, depending what kind of, I feel it. My producer is not really revealing much to me, so I really am not sure what she has planned right at the moment. But we would like to find a way. We would like to actually get it put into theaters, whether it's a limited release or what have you with that part. But when I first came up with when I first started really being like, yes, this is going to be filmed, I really was aiming for film festivals to start with it first to get it looked at. And film festivals, if I can get it on Netflix or Hulu, that'd be fantastic. That would be a
score for me. It's a score.
especially with if I can get it on Netflix, since they're still very open with the independent idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like Amazon.
Yeah, true. Amazon has been very with the independent film industry that way. Just I'm very open. I'm looking to get it shown anywhere and everywhere I can get it shown.
Nice. Well, I wish you all the best of luck for that as well, too.
So
Because
thank
I know
you.
it can be a rough and bumpy road, too. And, you know, especially like with January, with the whole Amazon targeting indie films, and then a bunch of people were having problems of not even knowing that their films were being taken down, and then until somebody mentioned like, hey, why is your movie not on here or something, and then, you know, the people go and look and they're like, what the hell? So yeah, it's been one weird thing after another. So
Yeah, the independent film industry is is a difficult one, but I also know my producer. She wants to submit it to SAG to make it a more union film. So we will see what happens with that. Because as she told me, she goes, it opens a lot more opportunities if it's a SAG film. And I was like, if you know how to do it, go for it.
you and you do this, and that, okay? Wait, what?
I've been, of all the business aspects and everything to this film, I've been letting her take control just because I tried to do it on my own. I was like, I can't. I'm not as experienced in the business aspect of the industry, that's for sure.
Well, that's why it's a learning experience, right? Right.
That is so true on so many levels.
Uh-huh.
Now, are you nervous about it?
A little. I would be lying if I said I wasn't. Everything, because when you work on something for so long, like I have with this one, you just want to see it. You just want to see it through so much, and then you sometimes have in the back of my mind, I do get that little scared nervousness of what if this takes another 5 years to get done, but then I'm just like, I have to not think that way. Because if I think that way, then it's just gonna be like stress that doesn't need to be there. So I'm letting my producer really. She seems very confident that we can get this made this year. So
Wow.
she's very if not this year, then I can definitely see it maybe early next year, but she's already got like the schedule figured out for this summer where I planned on filming it. So I'm nervous of how it will be seen, how people will react to it, because there's the monster, but it's also a very story driven film.
Well, I can't wait.
I can't wait to start filming. I have so many ideas of how I want this to go, and of course, just I have to keep telling myself, one step at a time. It will get there.
One foot in front of the other.
I had a feeling that song was gonna.
I didn't know the Wendigo knew Santa Claus is coming to town.
He does now.
Now that would be a scary song to have it sing in the forest.
Bring a little top hat and a little cane.
Cat dancing at the same time. Amazing.
The tap dancing Wendigo. There we go. There's that's the money right there. The tap dancing Wendigo.
Yeah.
There's your new pitch.
There's the new pitch right there for a horror film right there. You could probably get that done in like 3 takes.
Actually, because they described this creature to being so tall, that's been like the hardest part. Was like, how am I gonna get an actor that's like almost 7 feet tall? I'm gonna have to put them on stilts.
I know somebody that's like 6'11", I think, is his height.
Oh wow!
So did that work?
I was looking for actors for the Wendigo, and I was getting like 5'10" actors, and I'm like, the ad says you need to be like over 6 feet tall. I can't make it work with 5'10". And I have to put you on like 4 feet stilts to make that work.
And then you need to put 1 foot in front of it. Never mind. But no, real quick, Nicole. Is there, before I give you the last 2 questions that I have, is there anything that we haven't touched on that you would like to talk about?
So far, so good. Everything is. I think I'm saying everything I've been needing to say so far.
I'm glad. I'm glad.
Like I said, I love this project, and like I said, I've been working on it for 5 years. It started off as a college project, and it's just morphed itself into the way it is now.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. For 5 years of working on it, and I'm assuming it is the script, locations, and the cast members and all that jazz too, right?
Yeah, I actually have to recast one of the other important characters because I just haven't heard from him in like 6 weeks, and I'm just like, well, this is gonna work. Need you to communicate with me to know that you're still interested in this.
Yeah. Just throw another email out, slap him in the face a few times, and be like, "Hey, you listen here."
She wants him to work for her, not like make her think like she's the Wendigo.
Why not? That makes it much more scarier now. And the twist. Haha.
I might be short at 4'8", but man, I can get my word across.
See? It's all about them words, man. It's all about the words. And then you can just smack them across the face a few times to wake them up.
I would need a stepladder to do it, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but that would be so worth it in the end. That one good smack, and then you're satisfied, and then you can just do it again, maybe 10 more times.
Just stay right there for 1 second so I could get this step stool and get my point across to you.
Amazing. But
the movie's about a Wendigo, not the attack of a film producer. Okay.
This is true.
But Nicole, real quick, for those that are trying to start their own independent film and get where you are today, what advice would you give to those starting out?
One thing I have to say is don't let anything deter you. If you truly believe in the project, just keep going. You're going to hit bumps and roadblocks along the way, but if you believe in it, just keep going, because there's going to be, unfortunately, there will be 1,000 no's you will get, but you will get a yes, and somebody will take a chance on you. You just have to keep going and just keep working. You really have that belief in it. Just keep on going with it. Don't let anything tell you that you can't.
That's right. That's the attitude that everybody needs nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
And so the final question, Nicole, is where can we keep up to date with you to learn more about the upcoming Wendigo movie and other projects?
I have a Facebook page. It's called The Haunted Investigator. Ironically, it started off as a page for a book I released about almost 10 years ago, but now it's really morphed into more of a page about my projects and everything like that. So to get up to date on Wendigo and how everything is going, the Haunted Investigator Facebook page is the way to go.
All right, cool. Well, Nicole, thank you so much for your time, and sorry that there isn't too much information too, but we can only do with what you know and what we know, and maybe down the road when your producers and everybody have more information to even give out, we can maybe have you on for like part 2, and so that way we can help you out with the Wendigo project even more.
Sounds good. Yeah, as soon as I have more information, everybody else will know. It's right now it's a lot of waiting and planning. It's a lot of hurry up and wait. But I'm still trying to just, get the feelers out there. Hey, this is happening.
That's right. Before I actually end it here, Tristan, I just want to double check with you. Is there anything else that you would like to ask Nicole?
No, I'm just glad to meet her and glad to make her laugh.
I love to laugh. I laugh all the time.
Well, it was great to have you on.
Thank you so much. I love being on here.
Yes, it's truly a pleasure.
It was a pleasure meeting all of you. Thank you so much.
No problem. And thank you, everybody else, for listening. And if you made it this far, go to the Haunted Investigator page and follow. Otherwise, we're going to get that step ladder and we're going to very quietly punch you in the face.
Or we're going to climb up on our soapboxes and give you a very stern talking to.
And then we're going to spank you for not listening.
Some people might like that.
Well, then. Why did my voice need to go?
Oh, God.
Thank you so much for listening to this amazing interview episode, especially for Women in Horror Month. I was Paul Doski.
And I was Tessa Baker.
And I'm Tristan Knott.
And we want you to, like always, stay scary.